Hey everybody, I'm Ethan Cordes, back with another video on another metric. This week I want to talk about two actually, high speed running distance and high speed running per minute. The two of them are very intertwined, right? So I figured we would knock both out with one video. So, what counts as high speed running? Anytime you move at a speed above 5.5 meters per second, that counts toward this high speed running. Now, 5.5 meters per second is 12.3 miles an hour, but an easier way to think about it is in 1 meter or in 1 yard, there's about zero point 0.9 meters. And I'm sure we've all played on a field that's a soccer field, but it's also a football field, right? So it has both sets of lines on it. And in a football field, it's really easy to see the yard markers, 5 yards, 10 yards, right? So if you're covering 5 to 6 yards per second, then yeah, that action is going to count towards this high speed running. High speed running per minute is that high speed running you do, but then it's comparative per the amount of minutes that you did it in, right? So the example that I'm used to describe this is in a game, if we have player X, they play 90 minutes of the game, and I play 30, right? Player X is going to have just a lot more high speed running distance than I am because they played the whole game and I only played 30 minutes. Now, if you want to be able to compare the two of us, right, you'll compare that high speed running per minute because it will adjust it. They'll have all this much distance covered over 90 minutes, whereas my smaller amount will be over 30, right? And I'm sure we have math class and we know how to use common denominators and stuff. So that will make those numbers more comparable. So, high speed running in soccer. There's some positional variability to this, right? Studies have shown that if you're a forward, you tend to have more high speed running distance than like center mids. So some reasons for this could be, let's say you're pressing them, right? You're going to cover a decent amount of distance and you want to do it quickly, right? You want to get there and close them down. So that's going to count towards your high speed running. Whereas a center mid, if you're going, and I know this is comparing a defensive action to offensive action, right? But stay with me here. A center mid, you're going to collect the balls from the center back, right? And you want to distribute them from there. That's not as much high speed running in that. Same thing, center mids, you guys aren't the ones making 15, 20, 25 yard runs to go close someone down. Another example is like if you're an outside back and you're making an overlap, right? You're obviously going to make that run quickly, right? So that will count towards that high speed running. And to kind of show that, right, if we look at the data from this the PDF that's from the 0405 group, right, in my notes I have that Welchie started at striker in this game, right? You can see that her high speed running distance is the highest on the team. Whereas Emma DeHaan and Bravado were the two starting center mids, right, their distance is a little bit farther down. That's a good example of that positional variability. Last thing I have on here is that image in the bottom right. I almost said bottom left. And that is high speed running in female soccer matches, right? So they looked at a bunch of data and pretty much gave averages among the different levels, right? So what you guys will want to look at are those youth categories near the bottom in college. So one thing that I want to make sure you guys see in this is that the distance that they report is in meters. In the PDFs we report are in yards, right? Like I said earlier, there's not a huge difference, right? But when the numbers start to get bigger like that, they will start to be a difference. For example, like 230 yards is 250 some meters, right? So even when you get up to there, there's about like a 20 some difference between yards and meters. So when you start to get up into those 600, 700, 800 numbers that you see there, right, there could start to be a little bit of difference. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that. That's all I got for you guys. thank you for watching, and I will be back next week with another metric.